You can never stop clapping. The time between claps just gets longer. Greetings Nerd Squad and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host Carl Monroe and I don't care if this relates to the video. Oh, and a lethal dose of something is also a lifetime supply. Death doesn't really exist in the world of comics. If a character dies, they'll be brought back at some point in the future, but this wasn't always the case. So some superheroes can never truly die to fight against that, but which ones did we miss? That's what we're exploring with this list of the top 10 superheroes who are immortal part 2. If you haven't yet, what are you doing? Hit that like button and subscribe because we have 2 videos daily of all that nerdy content you love. And ring that bell to know when you can see this sweet face again. Was that too cocky? And at 10, Painkiller Jane. First appearing in 22 Brides number 1, Painkiller Jane is an event comics character created for a 5-issue miniseries, but then went on to crossover with characters like the Punisher and Hellboy. Jane Vasco started out as an undercover cop trying to infiltrate the mob. After gaining the trust of the mob boss, she is sent to meet a rival gang member to pass on a message, but unbeknownst to her, they planted a bomb on her, blowing it up as soon as she meets the member. He somehow survives and is able to revive her, while also giving her the superhuman ability to regenerate in the process. She then decides to leave her life as a cop behind, becoming the vigilante Painkiller Jane. While this may be the origin listed on most websites, a different origin was presented in the first Painkiller Jane miniseries, and the Dynamite Comics miniseries contains references to both versions. Her powers make her indestructible, being able to heal wounds in less than a minute. She has recovered from gunshots, explosions, chemical weapons, axes to the spine, and even a shotgun to the face, and if that's not the description of immortality, I don't know what is. And at 9, Batman. Batman isn't really immortal. He's a regular guy who has insane martial arts skills, and he's the world's greatest detective. But he's been around since 1939, that's 80 years. And while it may be a long time for the Bat, he's still looking good for his age, even though he should be looking like Bruce Wayne from the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. First appearing in Detective Comics number 27, Batman may not be your typical version of immortal, but it's 100% sure that under no circumstance will Batman ever be killed off. Permanently, I should say. Unless it's an alternate version of him and not the main one that is bringing in the major bucks. Major bucks? The only way they would kill off Batman is if they needed the publicity or if everyone stopped reading, but nobody's gonna stop reading Batman. He's immortal because he brings in a huge amount of money. He's got like that protagonist armor, like the solid armor at that. And it ain't Deadpool. Deadpool is one hell of a disease, and I mean that as in you'll never truly be rid of him. He's like an STI. Sure, your symptoms may go down and you won't be able to spread it, but it will flare up again every once in a while. First appearing in the New Mutants number 98, Wade Winston Wilson is meant to be a parody of Slade Wilson, and they do this in the best way. The wisecracking, death-loving merc with a mouth is able to, like Painkiller Jane, restore any wound within a matter of seconds, or longer if it's a whole appendage, like a hand. This ability also depends on his mental state. If he's happy, awake, and alert, it works at its best. His healing factor is strong enough that he has survived complete incineration and decapitation, and even his head was able to be its own person as Deadpool. He was able to regrow his head as well after it was pulverized by the Hulk in Deadpool Kills the Universe, a graphic novel. If you can do that, where can I sign up? I can look like an avocado had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado on a topographical map of Utah. And it's 7, Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Okay, I'm not actually gonna do that the whole time. And now I've also realized that the editor can put whatever they want over me saying that. Oh no. First appearing in Tales to Astonish number 13 in 1960, Groot is essentially a tree. He is a floral colossus from planet X. These beings are tree-like humanoids whose language can only be understood by listening to the stiffness of their larynx and the breaths in between each sentence, which is one of the most creative things that we've seen done with a language. Sure, you can't speak it like Dothraki, but it's still pretty cool. Groot originally came to Earth to capture and study humans, but was destroyed by termites used by Leslie Evans. Xemnu made a duplicate of Groot by combining a human and a tree so it could fight Hulk, but that was destroyed as well. In the MCU, Groot sacrificed himself in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, saying "We are Groot" rather than "I am Groot," but then was brought back using a leftover twig, which sprouted into Baby Groot and more recently Teen Groot. This guy has died and come back more times than me, so I'd say that's pretty damn impressive. I've come back a total of 0 times, I think. I might have died once. I don't know. And at 6, Ghost Rider. First appearing in Marvel Spotlight number 5, Johnny Blaze agrees to give his soul to the devil in order to save his father's life. The result of this is, at night, when he is around evil, his flesh becomes surrounded in hellfire and his head becomes a fiery skull. He rides a fiery motorcycle as well and can launch blasts of hellfire from his typically skeletal hands. There have been many incarnations of the Ghost Rider over the years: Johnny Blaze, Noble Kale, Denny Ketch, Alejandro Jones, and Robbie Reyes, to name a few. And while being able to get shot, stabbed, or whacked and not feel anything can contribute to immortality, the fact that there will never not be a Ghost Rider serves as more of a way to secure immortality. I almost included Oliver Queen on the list because of what happened during the CW Crisis crossover, but I figured I'd not include characters based on what happened on the TV. I'd just do comics. And at 5, Dr. Fate. First appearing in More Fun Comics number 55, his origins and alter ego were not shown until More Fun Comics number 67, where it was revealed that Kent Nelson and his father went on an expedition to the Valley of Ur. While exploring, Kent's father finds a temple. They explore it further and Kent opens the tomb of Nabu the Wise, reviving him from suspended animation and releasing a poisonous gas that kills his father. Taking pity on Kent, Nabu spends the next 20 years teaching him the ways of the sorcerer, giving him a mystical helmet, amulet, and cloak when he completes his training. Just like Ghost Rider, there have been many different people taking on the Dr. Fate title. Kent Nelson, Jared Stevens, Hector Hall, and Khaled Nassour just to name a few. And gaining the powers of a freaking sorcerer is literally one of the coolest things that can ever happen. But the persona of Dr. Fate will always live on, always finding someone new to wear the helmet and use the title. So while the characters that wear the helmet may pass and change, the mantle of Dr. Fate will always have a home, which is really pure immortality. Wow, words. And at 4, Superman. First seen in Action Comics number 1, Superman has technically died before, but in the universe of comics, death is never really a true threat. The Death of Superman storyline began in 1992 and lasted until late 1993, where it shocked fans to think that Superman was truly dead and that there was no returning. However, this is often cited as the event that sparked the whole nobody ever really dies in comic books theme, where no matter who dies, they will bring him back within the next few issues. While also being bulletproof and super strong, he can fly, has heat vision and frost breath, and can basically do whatever he wants with no consequences. Yes, while it may be possible to kill him like they have in the past, Superman is considered the poster boy of comic books and referred to as the first superhero by many. This is technically untrue because others like Zorro predate him and fit the same bill as Superman, but whatever. You can't kill the literal face of comics, especially when we have events like Blackest Night which bring back characters who even their creators forgot about. And at 3, Green Lantern. Whenever a Green Lantern dies, another creature worthy of a ring gets chosen. There is no way to ever really eradicate any Lantern Corps from existence, since the rings will just, straight up go find a new host. There have also been plenty of Green Lanterns explored in the comics. Alan Scott, Hal Jordan, John Stewart, Jessica Cruz, John Diggle, plenty of men and women and aliens have gotten their hands on a green ring of power. But what if we were to wipe out every single Lantern at once? Like a bomb that is able to get them all since they were like at a con or something. Well, if one ring managed to survive, it would still find another host. So you'd have to destroy the rings as well. But unless you can literally do all of this at once, you'd be screwed. Because then they come for you because you just literally killed everyone. And at 2, Wolverine. This wannabe honey badger has slowly had his healing factor amped up over time. He used to take days to recover from a severe beating, as seen in the classic X-Men in Australia storyline in the 90s. But now you can drop an atom bomb on him and he can just get right back up. In fact, it was revealed that every time Wolverine dies, he goes to like this hellish world, where he has to fight a demon samurai for the right to return to life. Yeah, I don't get it either. Wolverine has also managed to regenerate his entire body from a single drop of blood after it landed on the Crystal of Ultimate Vision in Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, Annual number 11 in 1987. This also gave him incredible cosmic powers, which he abandoned and instead destroyed the crystal, killing Horde, who was trying to take it for himself. Why would you do that? Which is pretty cool and one of the dopest things I've seen come from comics, but again, why would you do that? Just tear him apart. God. Finally, in at number 1, Mr. Immortal. How can I not finish this list off with the guy whose name is literally immortal? First appearing in West Coast Avengers Volume 2, number 46 in 1989, Craig Hollis was visited by the entity known as Death Urge, shortly after his birth and the death of his mother. This entity started urging Craig to do dangerous things, while his father thinks it's just an imaginary friend. Eventually, as Craig calls him Dirge, convinces Craig to set his house on fire and hide beneath it. This event kills his father and Dirge leaves. He gets put in foster care with an abusive father, but grows close to his foster sister. They fall in love, but is torn away when she offs herself. This causes Dirge to come back, and Craig asks him to kill him as well so that he can be with her. Dirge refuses because he's just a dick. But this doesn't stop Craig, who tried to fulfill his wish by jumping off a building, only to realize he can't die. He uses this ability to become a superhero, and as his first outing as Mr. Immortal, he's shot and left for dead. He decided he needed a team to make better use of his abilities, so after putting an ad out on Craigslist, he founds the Great Lake Avengers. A superhero who can't die but wants to? That sounds pretty interesting to me. There we have it, friends, the top 10 superheroes who are immortal part 2. Which superheroes haven't been seen in videos yet that you'd like to see in a part 3? Let me know below, and on your way down, be sure you hit like and subscribe for daily nerdy content and ring that bell to know when we upload those sweet lists. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Charlemagne Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.